Frank Ragnow retiring. Might as well retire the Lions. And stadium news coming up. We got a ton to do. It's a Monday. The CHGO Bears Podcast starts right now. Missing Hogue formation. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast on a guest-heavy Monday with a bunch of breaking news alongside my good friend, my handy-dandy, trusty Gregory P. Allen. Bragg, the P today stands for?
Party?
I was going with productive. You're just very productive. You got your head down. You're just getting things done. You're a productive.
That's right.
Gregory.
That's right.
Productive. Braggs as
P stands for playing golf.
Is that why you're tired?
No, I didn't play this weekend. Surprisingly enough, it's my daughter's birthday.
Well, we do have a golf outing this weekend, which is I believe why you're saying that. So before we get to Jake Riepma, our Lions handy dandy locked on Detroit superstar, to break down this Ragnow news, which is super interesting as the Lions continue to head towards the bottom of the division. We should remind you first off that this Friday, June 6th, 8 a.m. shotgun start, the Village Links at Glen Ellen. Greg.
Yep. If you go to allchgo.com/events, you can sign up. Today is the last day you can sign up for this event. Every year we do these. They are great. Ton of fun. You get drinks and food included afterwards. You get a lot of different prizes that are dished out and a little gift bag to start your day. If you win closest to the pin, you win something. A bunch of different competitions going out through the day. We'll all be there, so come on out and golf with us at the Links of Glen Ellen.
Yeah, and of course, as everybody knows, that my foursome was purchased, so you can't unfortunately play with me. We do have another golf outing later in the year. I'd love to make that available today, but Han Solo and Blake and company, we're going to dominate, and so. I mean, if you're planning on winning, actually, I wouldn't come out because we're going to be so good. But if you just want to hang out and have a good time, like the P over here, then, come on out. I'm kidding. We have no chance. We're the worst golfers ever. It's my guess, but we're going to have the best time. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, big news today as Frank Ragnow, this is a 4-time Pro Bowler, absolute heart and soul guy in the middle of the Lions offensive line, who I'm pretty certain they lost. I think their offensive coordinator is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and their defensive coordinator, I think his name is Aaron Glenn. He's the head coach of the New York Jets. Just seems to me like the only thing left in Detroit is Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. Jake Riepma, 105.3, the fan down in Dallas, who also has done Locked On Lions and is our resident Northwestern fan as well, wearing his Lions gear today with the Tigers in the background, with the White Sox and Javi Baez coming in, and the Cubs going up to Detroit this weekend. Wow, a lot going on here. Hey, Jake, thanks for making time here. This is not a good day for the Lions. 29 years old, Pro Bowler, doesn't, the body breaking down, which is actually a sad part of this, but it is fair to call this a big-time loss for Detroit, is it not?
No, you're absolutely correct. And Mark and Greg, thanks so much for having me back on. But it's just so on brand that we've got victory laps being taken. We've got celebrations being made. It just sounds like a typical Chicago Bears off season. So I want to be the first to congratulate you guys on yet another victory for your Chicago Bears without any snaps being played, any game being lined up. It's just yet another victory for you guys in Chicago. So congrats, and what a hell of a Monday and a way to start out.
We did it. Well, I mean, it does feel significant. I mean, obviously, Bears fans, we've been through this before on what our team is going to do on our end, but it is kind of fascinating to watch this offseason unfold for Detroit. You got 2/3 of your interior offensive line, that's gone now. You bring in Tate Ratledge, somebody that, I think is an interesting option there, for your offensive line, but still a rookie. And then you lose a lot of your assistant coaching staff. So your level of concern and who do you think will be the guy that replaces, Frank Ragnow at center.
No, you're absolutely right. And I know I was joking around, but it when it rains, it pours. I mean, it's one thing after another. And some of it is a product of success with the Ragnow retirement and certainly the timing of it after the draft, after free agency. There's a lot of follow-up questions that really only Frank can answer. And I think the statement that he made and posted on Instagram covered all of the personal side of it and certainly the battle with the physical component of it all. So at surface level, sure, that's the explanation. That's what you take it for what it is. But at the same time, I mean, this was a guy that was frustrated with his contract situation in 2024. And that's the way my mind works. You start to speculate, okay, is there more to this than just the physical component of it? And again, only Frank can truly answer that. Now, your question about who the replacement is, Graham Glasgow is a guy that has a lot of center experience, played center for the Denver Broncos, and he's back with the Lions as far as that level of continuity and working in that system. Ratledge, the rookie, is certainly an intriguing potential replacement at the center position. I don't know if he's ready to make that drastic change because, I mean, that's not who you drafted him or the position you drafted him to play it. And while he does have some experience at the center position, I don't know if you want to add that to a rookie's plate when you're trying to get him up to that NFL speed and getting him contributing to an offensive line that needs him right away. So my initial reaction when I saw the news, obviously it hits like a ton of bricks and it absolutely is significant, but my mind immediately went to Graham Glasgow as the replacement.
So that would mean all three interior offensive linemen from last year are now a different person in each position. I mean, that's got to be a little scary, especially when you consider Ben Johnson also, obviously left Detroit as well.
Feels Bears-like borderline, Jake.
Listen, I hear the tone and, you guys you're planting the thoughts in my head and we're still, what are we, an hour removed from the news? Let me grieve a little bit before you plant my...
No. This is what you get for sending those texts draft night. I don't forget it. All your bashing of Colson Loveland, a local kid who you should have been bought into, and I didn't forget it. And now this is what you get.
Oh, yeah. I watched him play. That's why I'm not bought into it. And you know what? We're talking way too much football for it being June. Let's talk a little baseball. How about my Detroit Tigers, man? Yeah. Best team in the American
Tigers
League.
And the Cubs 1 and 2 in all of baseball. Who would have had that to start the season?
Very interesting show. Maybe we'll bring you on the White Sox pod coming up later in the week too. But just hold on. First things first here. Look. I had a different thought that I just lost, but let me get back to my thought that I had before that one. Ragnow, this guy had toe, knee, and ankle injuries dating all the way back to 2021. You just brought up the money thing, which is interesting because there was a report literally yesterday that he wanted more dough. He said after the season that he never felt better, and then today he's telling you that you just can't go on. So to further play into the narrative of today, it seems to me that he just looks around and sees a team that just can't compete anymore, and he's not going to put his body through it on a team that's fallen apart. That must have been what happened.
That's a little bit of a leap. Come on now. And I will say, though, again, and all jokes aside, like the way my mind works is I'm immediately trying to get to the bottom of something. And if there's more to it than what is at surface level, and the surface level being body was beat up. You just mentioned all the injuries. And in his statement, he alluded to the fact that he was tired of telling himself he's physically fine. And I think that, again, only Frank Ragnow can really answer that. But I mean, as recent as Friday, there's murmurs, there's the rumors, discussions, whatever have you about his desire to be paid like at the very, very top, like to match the performance that he put out year in and year out. So I want to continue, it's new, it's recent, but I I don't blame you, Mark, for having that kind of thought, because I had the same one of, wait a second. All right, let's, one of those, if there's little smoke there, is there fire? Is it more to just the physical component of it? And was there truly beef within him in the front office in wanting more money in a different contract and not being able to come to terms? Because retiring, I mean, all physical ailments and injuries aside, not being medically forced to retire, but choosing to retire at 29 is significant. And sure, the injuries led to it, but it's not like a doctor came out and said, all right, there's no more football in the cards for you. And again, I have not played at the highest level of going through a car accident every single snap in the National Football League and the offensive defensive line in the interior. So I'm not downplaying it, but at the same time, there's more to the discussion.
I play financial advisor on the side, and you look at his money. He made $8 million in 24. That's a lot of dough. He made $12 million in 23. I'm rounding up here, team. So that's 20. And then early in his career, throw on another 4 in his first 2 years. That's $24 million. Lot of dough. 99.99999% of us will never make that money in our lifetime. Easily can retire. However, he was sitting on another 20+ million coming in the next 2 years, which is equal to that. If you could, as a financial advisor for a second, I would advise playing and doubling your income in the next 2 years. So to me, this actually reeks of somebody who is in a lot of pain, and you watch his videos. He reeks of the exact dude you want in the middle of your offensive line, as far as character, as far as tenacity, all the things. So I don't think we're going to see him back in the NFL unless he starts doing yoga and eating kale 38 hours a day and stopping going to Applebee's, which he did put out a famous video back in the day on Hard Knocks that he just absolutely loves Applebee's. I think the dude's got to, it just seems like his body's just giving out, and that's the end of it. And let's be honest, celebrate a career, but it is good for the Bears. That's the end of, you bury your dead and you move on, and this one's good for Chicago. Yes, Steven, I'm sorry. That was a long-winded, not even a question to you, Jake. But Steven wants to add something that perhaps is.
Jake, let me ask you this. The Lions now saved like $14 million with Frank Ragnow retiring. Is there anything that they might look to do with that extra cap space?
Yeah, that's a good question, but the timing of it is it's so difficult to try to formulate what that reactionary move could be, given the lack of free agents that might be available, or what the team might look to do in terms of replacing him after the draft and so on and so forth. So honestly, I would just be guessing if I gave you a statement of, oh yeah, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And I do know, as much of a last-ditched resort of trusting Brad Holmes and everything that he has done in his time as the Lions general manager, there's at least a peace of mind in knowing that the masterminds behind this Lions organization has proven time and time again that they can put together quite the substantial interior, and that's been a strength of this team moving forward. But you also have some guys that you're counting on to step up a little bit, and the continuity that Frank Ragnow brings, the offensive line coach being promoted to run game coordinator and being in that system. So yes, there's the loss obviously at the top with Ben Johnson, but there's still there's at least the systematic connection with the offensive line coach and Frank Ragnow, and being in that system and the continuity that he's brought over the course of the last several years.
Well,
go ahead, Steven.
I was going to say the scary thing for me is there any chance that they go after Trey Hendrickson now?
Yeah, that's exactly what Lions Twitter is all going crazy with right now, more crazy than they have been in weeks past. And if this is a byproduct of the Frank Ragnow retirement, then hey, book me back on the show and I'll gloat a little bit and have a little off-season victory.
How is Aiden on that topic? How's Aiden Hutchinson been looking per reports and everything?
Yeah, everything is at least reporting that he looks good. The videos look good. Defensive end, I feel like, is that position that you can run your moves on air and it's just, he's back. But until you're, in a full contact situation, I don't know if you truly ever feel like you're fully back. But by all indications, he's attacked the rehab, and that's right on brand with his personality, his character, and everything you would expect a guy that has the aspirations to be the best defensive player in the league. And I fully believe he'll get to that point.
This might be a stupid question, but can he change his mind? Can Frank Ragnow change his mind in 2 months and say, you know what, I feel better now, I want to come back?
Of course,
right. I think that's wishful thinking, but I'm sure there's time you could go back to in history and guys that have a change of heart, and it's not like he would miss anything from now until make it up whatever that date is, where there's enough time for him to change his mind. But I think if we're clinging to that, then we've got some other issues. I
guess I meant from like a contract standpoint. Like if he retires today, does that mean the contract's done? They'd have to make a new one, or
he'd still get his money,
right?
Yeah, and well, at least that's how they've done it in the past. But maybe I could be wrong about that. Regardless, who cares about his money? He's not coming back. He's done. So are the Lions. Riepma's got to go. By the way, we've got this guy Ryan Bates who has got an arthritic shoulder. So if you guys need some depth on the line, I think call up our guy Ryan Poles, and he might spin him even in the division for a 6th round pick.
Or hey, you like using offensive linemen on offense? You can use Doug Kramer. So he plays center and fullback.
Hand him the ball.
How are their throwing abilities? Because remember, Penei Sewell is going to throw a pass the other day.
Doug Kramer just runs it with authority.
Do you have him above or below the? I don't know, whoever you have in third place, Packers/Vikings. What are you thinking?
Get out of here. You have to be the best, you got to beat the best. And as far as I'm concerned, they're still at that point. So when are we going to talk after some actual games, and then we can get into it?
Well, hey, you're our guy.
Week 2.
We'll see you.
We'll have you on. But for now, you've had to spend time on the victory tour this offseason with us, and you've been a good sport about it. So I'm sure something else will happen to the Lions, and we'll have to do this again with you.
We do need to create an actual trophy for the offseason, because this has been unbelievable. Jake, you're the best, brother. Thanks for being a good sport. We always appreciate the time.
Appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
Jake Riepma, our Detroit correspondent, locked on down in Dallas right now. He was dying to talk Javi Baez.
Or as I like to say when we texted him draft night, stick it, Riepma.
Well, that's great that we have that lovely spirit of the show. All right. Speaking of Ryan Bates, we are going to talk about some cut candidates coming up here in a second. And then at the bottom of the hour, we're doing a double guest today. Jeremy Gorner is going to be with us, who covers the happenings in Springfield with the Bears' new stadium not getting voted on. So we'll get the details on that coming up, because I just have to do it. And by the way, we are going to have a big-time celebration later in the show. And Cody Del Mendo's walking in the studio, because I'm assuming he's getting loose for softball tonight.
Let's go Cubs.
We need players if anybody's out there. Thank you very much. But first, shout out to our friends at Bet365. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. New customers, that could be you. You're going to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. So what you do is you sign up, use the code CHGO365, you deposit $10, make a bet for $5, and then you get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. We've got early payout offers. NBA Finals coming up this week with the Bet365 early payout offer. If OKC goes up by 20, you bet the Thunder. You're cashing in. That's an instant winner. Straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. And once again, that's right. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers, $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose. Sign up. Use the code CHGO365. Bet 10 and deposit 10 and bet $5, and you get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You do have to be 21 or older if you or someone you know has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in app only.
That's right. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Empire today. Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endlessly around the aisles, then somehow you're hauling all these materials home, looking for an installer and coordinating everything yourself, and that's not fun. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring may have been, dishing out beers at Wrigley Field once upon a time and could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow if he's not careful. Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Well, that's because Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home, pick the flooring and the right colors for your space, and see how it looks with your furniture in your house. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for full details.
All right. Big week for the Chicago Bears. I've been debating with myself all day long. How big of a week is it for the Bears with mandatory minicamp starting tomorrow, continuing on Wednesday and on Thursday? Myself and Hogue and Patrick Norton will be out at Hallis Hall. Gregory will be doing what Gregory does, overlording, and one of these days I do believe you will sneak in the back way and go Metra to get in, which I would love to see you do that. I think it'd be good for the show, even though they probably ban us all for life. But that one day of contact wouldn't be amazing. All right, so
we got enough people there.
We do. We don't. What's
another 200 beat writers?
It's good for me and you to have separation and Hogue and everybody. We need this. But let's take the temp right now. Sponsored by our local trusted experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. As we take the temp, as they get back on the field, on some potential cut candidates who will not be here when the dust settles and the Bears are finally playing football again in 2025. Chad is open for this. Throw some names in there if you'd like to join in as we take the temp on our early Bear cut candidates. Gregory, who's at the top of your progressive, non-procrastinating list?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the person that's on the hottest seat is probably Tyler Scott. When you look at the way they've added to that wide receiver room, not just with Luther Burden in the second round, but some free agent acquisitions, Devin Duvernay, Olamide Zacchaeus.
You're nailing it today. Look at you.
Yeah, those two guys. A lot of people, I think, are forgetting about Zacchaeus, now that we've gotten so deep into the offseason. But I do think he is going to play more of a, I'm not going to say significant role, but be a solid role player for this team. And that really dips into the snaps that Tyler Scott can't even get into. Because if you're saying, well, you need somebody to stretch the field, well, hello, Luther Burden's going to be doing that for you this year. So I don't know where the snaps are coming from with Tyler Scott. He's had a tough go about it with 3 different coaching staffs now. I think a change of scenery might end up being what's best for him and his career in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm obviously rooting for Tyler.
Good dude.
I'm a big fan of Tyler's. I'd love to see it happen here. He certainly has the speed to do it. How much has his hands improved to be able to make plays? I want to see it happen. I thought he did a decent job last year at the end of the year when he got an opportunity on special teams to return kicks. But you're right. Duvernay is you would think is going to get the opportunities to be the return guy. Burden is going to get all the opportunities to succeed. You saw how fired up Ben Johnson was. Now, he does have the soft tissue injury, so we'll see how active he is in the next 3 days. But and I'll say this, too, like Miles Boykin looked good last week. The dude had some size.
Another guy that you, like I said, they picked up so many options.
Right.
That you kind of forget about half of them because they just, they've loaded that room up.
I mean, I think the next guy that would play alongside Tyler as far as cut candidates, Zacch Pickens has sort of had a similar trajectory as far as not getting a ton of opportunities and not being overly productive when he does get a chance.
Yeah, I would say more the latter there than lack of opportunities, not seizing the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they've had a ton of depth at defensive tackle. He just obviously hasn't done enough to warrant the snaps.
Right. And you also, I mean, this is a new coaching staff. You do wonder how they will view the players that are in the room when they get to see him up close and personal, which would also fall in the same line for Noah Sewell. Like, the Bears have or don't have a huge amount of depth at linebacker, but
that's where I think Noah Sewell might end up being safe.
Yeah, I mean, just talent and production alone wouldn't have made him a lock on the roster, but you're right. I mean, we're looking at Hippolyte potentially being the starter right now, and behind him, it's just Noah Sewell.
Right, and I wouldn't even be penciling in Hippolyte as a starter at Sam. He's got to earn that at camp as much as he's got, a direct pathway to it, until we see what he can actually do.
It's really, the more you talk about the linebacker room, it's stunning that the Bears let Sanborn go for – he's getting paid $1 million down in Dallas. I get it that he doesn't fit the profile, the speed that they want. So
it's like when the Cubs let go of Schwarber.
It's a little too much love for Sanborn, even for somebody as myself. But
no, but the point was,
I got it.
All they had to do was tender Schwarber. That was the comparison from a contract standpoint. It was like a $5 million tender. I hear $7. I hear Sylvie talk about this all the time. It's
I think it was $9, and they paid $7 for Jock Peterson.
Yeah,
but $9 million was
nothing. Whatever. It was nothing, and pennies on the dollar. But so I get your point, and I know you love Sanborn, so people get tired of you always bringing him up, but your point is still well taken.
Damn right it is. Valid as hell. Where the hell's the sand god? What about Dom Rob? You think Dom Rob makes it through?
How is he still on? I mean, respectfully. How is he still
on
this roster? Okay. I'm sure he's fun to interview in the locker room, but I just don't get how he's, I guess lack of depth at defensive end.
He's a very imposing Dom Rob. He looks the part.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't. And then he had the one amazing sack week 1 where he grabbed, who the hell's that quarterback? He just grabbed him and threw him to the ground. He looked which one? No, it was last year's week 1, not even this year's week 1. Last year's week 1, whoever that was in 20, I can look it up real quick. Or Steven, maybe help me out.
The 49ers?
Yeah, right. He
Brock Purdy?
I think he took Trey Lance and whipped him to the ground.
Well, Trey was hurt. Or no, it was Trey.
I think it was Trey. I think that's right.
Trey. Yeah.
But since then, we really haven't seen Dom Rob all that much.
And honestly, I think that was 3 years ago. That's how old we're getting.
But that moment, man, Dom Rob was there. It would be somewhat surprising if he makes the roster.
Matt Nagy says respectfully while laughing at him. I'm sorry. I did say respectfully. And once you say that, then whatever comes after that, it was respectful.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right.
Ryan Bates, I think, is somebody that we should at least talk about here a little bit. I know Gary has continued to say that there might be a chance that he medically retires. Obviously Gary Rappaport has his own information, but I haven't heard anything to that extent yet. He has had, like you said, an arthritic shoulder. So, injury has certainly been on the table with him for a few years now in his career.
I can speak to arthritis as the arthritic person on the show. And let me tell you, it's not fun. And you could put all the topical ointment on your shoulder as much as possible, but it's hard to play NFL football that way. So I would not bet on Ryan Bates being on this roster when you get that level of information on someone's health. It just does not sound good.
The weird thing with that, though, is if they were going to cut Ryan Bates, they should have already done it. By him being on the team on the league's third day of the new year, which was back in March, he was guaranteed $500,000. So if you cut him now, you gave him $500,000 for free.
Well, as Ryan Bates' financial advisor, as I just was for Frank Ragnow, that was a great job by Bates. Do not retire. Cash in as much as you can. You're never going to make this money like this ever again in your life. Dog eat dog world. take the Bears, take the NFL money as much as you can.
Gary says he has an experimental procedure that is only allowed out of country, and it was a last-ditch effort to save his career, per Gary Rappaport.
Nobody follows the trials and tribulations of Ryan Bates better than Gary does. So, listen, obviously it would be good for the Bears in theory if he could get healthy and be a depth piece on that offensive line. You'd rarely make it through the season with everybody playing every down, so that wouldn't be a horrible development. I just wouldn't bet on it. Anybody else that you want to throw in there?
Not really.
Any of your 7 zillion offensive linemen you wanted to keep? You want to throw Bill Murray?
No, we're not getting rid of Bill Murray. Quit trying to get rid of him.
No. What about Doug Kramer, who you just talked to?
No, we're keeping him too.
Let me ask you guys about Travis Homer, because he's an interesting one. You draft Kyle Monangai, and Travis Homer becomes the 4th running back. The question becomes now, is his value on special teams enough to keep him on this roster?
You got Devin Duvernay, right? And Luther Burden might be the backup returner, but do you want Luther Burden returning kicks too and not just punts?
Yeah, but you're not. Homer's more of a make play gunner type. He's not returning punts.
But he could, in a pinch with injuries.
I suppose he could in a pinch,
right.
But it's an interesting name because the last coaching staff loved him. So will this coaching staff see the same special teams value in Homer? I'm kind of like Matt Nagy on this one. Travis Homer with the ha-has. It's like I'm like okay.
Oh, now who's laughing? See,
yeah.
He didn't even put respectfully.
Yeah,
he just laughed at him disrespectfully.
Yeah, and look, Richard Hightower is a holdover here, so he obviously values Travis Homer because he's been using him and advocating for him and whatnot. But, Richard's going to go along with Ben Johnson, looks at him and says, we're not keeping Homer. I don't think Hightower's going to be fighting for him. It's an interesting name. I'm really looking forward to the week. Looking forward to seeing, I know they're, we're not padding it up here. It is it's a mandatory mini camp. Mostly it's, at best an appetizer for training camp, but it is mandatory. Caleb is going to be there. We're going to cover it. Show should be a lot of fun here tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. All right.
Yep, different time for all those shows too. So be on the lookout.
They're all 4:00, are they not?
Yeah, I think
4:00.
I thought maybe they were pushed back an hour. I remember Hogue mentioning that.
Oh,
he said they might be.
They might push back to 5.
Right
rushed.
now, they're all listed at 4 p.m.
But
so
remember,
keep an eye out. We did talk about it.
He did say something about pushing it because they were all rushed.
I mean, I have massive issues tomorrow that we can talk about off the air, but so if we could just do this for
you
me.
Don't just have massive issues tomorrow. You have massive issues every day.
Excellent point. Before we discuss my massive issues and get to our get to some Springfield talk, let's say something like, but first, Gregory.
Yes, we can say it together. But first, I want to give a shout out to Ray Auto Chevy. Our guy Hogue is out there with Ray Scarpelli right now. Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is kicking off the summer with big Memorial Day savings all month long. Come in today to shop the Memorial Day sales event and drive home with 0% financing for 60 months on select new Chevy models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you, and as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you'll get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because a guarantee of no add-ons, no hidden fees, and no gimmicks means the price you see is the price you pay. You don't have to worry about price changing, stressful negotiating, or any tricks. The people at Ray Chevrolet just want to help you get into the right vehicle at the right price. So go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their Memorial Day sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on select new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Let us indeed drive. And Bears fans who thought it was going to get rubber stamped that they would be driving out to Arlington Heights or riding the metro out to Arlington Heights or walking down the street if you already live in Arlington Heights over to the brand new, sparkling new Bears Stadium with shovels going in the ground this year to be built in 5 seconds. Well, that got a little bit of a stall situation. So let us bring in a man who lives his life down in Springfield. Yes, in one split second, but thank you, Gregory. Apparently I'm losing my mind today, which is all right. Just a reminder to that we do got to get our money in order first with our friends at Monarch Money, where finances can be messy and confusing. They act like your personal CFO. We've been telling you about it. Look, start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. They make money managing simple. They take the headache away from you. They give you the tools that you need. This is Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Top recommended by the Personal Finance app, which is actually very timely today because I'm talking about being everyone's financial advisor. Do this first. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com. Put that in your browser for half off your first year, 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code CHGO. You'll feel a whole lot better if you do. All right, now we can get to our friend Jeremy Gorner. Sorry, I got a little excited seeing my guy in the chat here or on the FaceTime. Jeremy from the Tribune was down in Springfield where they tried to have a late push to get the Bears Stadium moving forward towards Arlington Heights. And Jeremy, it didn't happen. What can you tell us as to why there was no vote? And people are talking about September, perhaps progress could be made then. But where do you think things stand right now? And can people like myself who really, really, really want the Bears to stay in Chicago, can we have any level of celebration that perhaps this is still possible?
Okay, so from the Springfield perspective, to answer your question, I think, for your listeners, you got to look at the dynamics of the state legislature and how it works, okay, to answer your question. So everything is controlled pretty much by Democrats. You have 78 of the 118 House seats are Democrats. 40 of the 59 Senate seats are Democrats. A sizable percentage of the Democratic seats in the House and Senate, not the majority, but like a sizable amounts of the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats are lawmakers from the city of Chicago. In order for anything to pass that's on the Democratic agenda in Springfield, they pretty much need Chicago lawmakers to be on board with most key legislation. It's been expressed to me that it would be a tall order, that if the Bears are trying to move to Arlington Heights, it might be difficult for Chicago lawmakers, all Democrats, to get on board with this because they don't want to vote on something that'll incentivize the Bears to leave the city of Chicago. I mean, to leave their districts, the people who voted them in and voted them into these districts. That being said, in order for anything to get passed, I'll give you an example. In the Illinois House, again, there's 78 Democrats in there. There's an informal rule that the House Speaker, Chris Welch, puts out there that in order for meaningful legislation to get even called to the House floor, he needs to do a roll call behind closed doors to see if he's got at least 60 Democrats who are on board. 60 is a simple majority threshold to pass anything in Springfield during the spring session, which just ended. I don't think that you'd get 60 Democrats for a proposal for state help to move the Bears to Arlington Heights, because there's probably over 20 House Democrats alone, more than that, who are from the city of Chicago. So now the question is, what about Republicans? Would there be suburban Republicans who might be on board to help get to that 60 vote threshold during the spring session? And, there's a possibility that it could. I mean, you could have some suburban state representatives or state senators who might feel like a Bears move to Arlington Heights could help with, economic development in their towns. So I think it'll be really interesting to see. I think that, during veto session coming up in the fall, I believe that the voting threshold might be a little higher. I think it's different to get stuff passed. But I mean, clearly, I think the Bears, obviously, as you know, have till 2033 before their lease runs out at Soldier Field. So they do have a lot of time, but they need to get shovels in the ground well before that. So that is why they're doing this aggressive. They've been doing this aggressive push in Springfield the last couple of years. And it appears, they're getting closer and closer with this mega projects proposal, these mega projects proposals that they want, which would, obviously make it easier for the Bears to negotiate, with the local taxing bodies over property tax assessments with state guardrails. But the key thing about the Bears in Chicago, while Chicago lawmakers certainly want to keep them there, they don't want to give the Bears state money, to build a stadium there. That's one of the big reasons the stadium proposal along the lakefront fizzled, because they wanted, more than maybe $2 billion in incentives from the state to help aid in that move. So that would be a tall order as well. So it's really going to depend on Chicago lawmakers getting on board with helping the Bears if they want to move to Arlington Heights, and that's going to be tough to get them to be on board with them leaving Chicago.
$1 billion here, $1 billion there.
Honestly,
he's about to explode over here because he's tired of it. But
I appreciate all this insight, and it honestly is helpful because I think it brings more information that I need to know, because my head is spinning hearing all this. But at least it's better than just the runaround conversations we've had for 3 years. But I'm curious, how many branches are on this tree? Because you're talking about tax property, you're talking about putting shovels in the ground. But then what about passing the infrastructure, the streets, the highway, like all this? So how many hurdles do they have to overcome that don't just have to do with putting a shovel in the ground?
Right. So I think, so basically this is the thing. The Bears have said on May 16th, when they announced that it was their intention to focus on Arlington Heights, the big thing that I think, was a sigh of relief to some state lawmakers and certainly Governor Pritzker, is that they're not going to look for state funding to do this. Unlike whatever they wanted to do on the lakefront, state funding's out of the question. Now, I think it's pretty safe to assume that if they move to Arlington Heights, they're going to need some state funding, like to your point, like for infrastructure. There's going to be some state funding there. It's probably not going to be too significant, but the state still might have to come and step up and help if that's indeed what they do. But because because they would be moving from Soldier Field, which is overseen by the Park District, to a totally new location, a location where they have owned property for 2 years. They paid $197 million for that property. They still need the local taxing bodies on board with everything before getting shovels to the ground. I mean, there's state law that you're dealing with, which needs to get passed, to allow for some of this, local action to take place between the Bears and the city of Arlington Heights and the surrounding municipalities. So yeah, I'm not I'm not like a lawyer when it comes to this stuff, but it's pretty complicated. But basically, the school districts, the taxing bodies in Arlington Heights really have to kind of get on board with everything as well. So it's not just the state.
You're our lawyer today, Jeremy, and we appreciate it. I just thought it was very interesting that Cam Buckner, who represents the district where Soldier Field is located, was very vocal about they are going to have to go through Chicago. And then I'm sitting there like, hey, I've been saying this forever. If they leave, you have $1 billion hole. What are you going to do with this aging facility? To me, it makes more sense to try to figure out how to make a win-win for the Bears and the city to turn that into not a complete just cash hole that the taxpayers are going to have to eat. But nobody's been willing to think creatively on how to do that. Right. So it's like, to me, then I get to, well, if I'm Indiana, I'm screaming, hey, we're here, so you don't have to deal with any of this, and we'll take your private money and give you a sweetheart of a deal. Come on over here. This was, they've been talking about going to Gary all the way back into the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know where, your nuclear option of what happens here, is there anything that pops to mind?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I think that Cam Buckner, it's going to be in his best interest to say what he said, obviously, because as much as he loves the Bears, as much as he would love the Bears to stay in the city of Chicago, he doesn't want to cast a vote for allowing for taxpayer funds to pay for a stadium, especially when somebody like Representative Buckner represents, he represents a district that's pretty diverse. He represents part of the downtown Chicago. He represents part of the South Side, some low-income areas, areas that need tax money for other purposes, and he wants to kind of honor that. So but at the same time, it's kind of like it's a catch-22, I think, for a lot of these lawmakers. They don't want to. State help is what's crucial to keep the Bears in Chicago, and lawmakers don't want to go for that. But at the same time, they don't want them to leave Chicago. So I don't know exactly the nuclear option. I mean, they might have the Bears. I mean, the McCaskies are going to do whatever they want anyway, and they've clearly signaled Arlington Heights. It has been a great possibility. But while all this back and forth has gone on, to your point, you were talking about Northwest Indiana. That's why you saw Rockford in the picture. That's why you saw Waukegan. You saw Naperville. You saw other municipalities saying, hey, we'll help you fund your stadium. But, but the problem with the city of Chicago is they face a budget deficit of their own. And it's in Mayor Johnson, it could be looked at as a political hit if he lets the Bears leave Chicago. But at the same time, how would he be received if taxpayer money, given the state of the local economy now, how is that going to look if he's, to progressive causes, for him, if he's going to give all this money to a big business like the Chicago Bears, but abandon his other priorities? So I don't know what the nuclear option would be, but it seems like there's just a lot of entanglements here that still need to be resolved.
Yeah. All right. Jeremy, we appreciate the time. You want something else?
Well, the only other thing that I'm curious about, and I don't know if this is really in your purview, but with the Bills stadium, there was a debt waiver for their $2.2 billion stadium. Again, another thing that's way over my head, but any insight to what the Bears can do in the NFL helping them out?
Well, I mean, I believe part of the deal that they had for the lakefront, part of the proposal was that the NFL they have some kind of special fund that I believe helps franchises pay for new stadiums. And I believe there was some pretty significant funding that the Bears thought that they could secure from the NFL for that. Maybe that would go to the Arlington Heights proposal too. I'm not sure. I know definitely for the lakefront, that was definitely something that the Bears said it was their intention to use. Part of the $5 billion for would be whatever the NFL could give them, so because the NFL does have a program for that. But as far as a debt waiver, that would be interesting. I mean, I know that one of the sticking points is that for the lakefront proposal, I believe the Bears wanted the state of Illinois to take on close to $900 million of debt, and then like an additional $1.5 billion for infrastructure. Yeah. And that was just something that the state was pretty firm by saying, look, we love the Bears, but we're not going to go for that. So as far as like a waiver, yeah, that would be interesting, but that's not something I've heard.
This is what we need to do, Gregory. And Jeremy, you're welcome to join us. The Bears need to sell off a little bit of the Bears, and then we can help with whatever the rest of the funding is. So we got to come up with $1 billion or $2 billion, and then they'll sell us a good portion.
Well, my daughter just lost her tooth on Saturday, and she got $20 for that.
Well, there you go.
It was her birthday tooth loss, so that's why it was a high tax.
We'll give you 4 tickets, 50-yard line. You could do all the videos.
Jeremy, I'm coming to Arlington Heights. I was already over there once when they did the whole, dog and pony show at the high school and the, reveal of how this was all going to look. And so I stood outside the pearly gates of Arlington Heights Stadium, or where it would be. I'm coming back with a shovel, and I'm going to put the shovel in the ground.
Just to wrap this up on a slightly
way to save money.
Just it sounds to me that nobody wants to be the bad guy here. Everyone's playing politics. The Bears need every single Republican, and they need some Democrats to be willing to say that this is not fiscally responsible for us in Chicago, and that'll be the end of that. And I mean, I'm trying to get Cam Buckner on the show. We'll see what he has to say about it. But
and tell you the truth, I don't even know if they need every single Republican. It's interesting because the Democrats and the Republicans in the legislature, when they debate over issues, it's over a lot of the issues that kind of mirror the national discussions. It's budgetary matters, it's social issues. Like abortion, for example. You don't really hear the Republicans talk about, well, how do you feel about the Bears Stadium? You really don't. I mean, I know the only thing I really saw was there was a downstate conservative Republican from the Springfield area who was on a boat ride last year. I think it was last year with a bunch of other Democrats in the legislature. They all went on a boat ride to the 78, which, as you know, is this new neighborhood development that's under construction in the city of Chicago, where Jerry Reinsdorf wanted, or maybe still wants, to build a White Sox stadium. So my point is to see that you had a Republican who was open to the possibility of a new sports stadium. Because the White Sox wanted some elected officials to look at this, Democrats and Republicans. I think it would be interesting to see how Republicans receive it, but I don't think you need all Republicans. But I just feel like city of Chicago is really who you got to win over here. So I mean, I don't know how many Republicans will get on board with this, but I certainly think some.
For the zillionth time, I'll just throw out my solution, because this state has been so incredibly stupid. I'll say it like that. They sold off the parking. They sold off the tollways. That paid for about 5 seconds of money that they needed. We don't. Anybody in my generation is never going to see that again. It was a 75-year deal on the parking and the tollways that Mayor Daley did way back in the day. People love to blame the mayors of today, but all these problems. This has been rolling downhill for a long time. How they've gotten to this point. Right now, what I would do, sell the land to the Bears, tax the living daylights out of them, try to get some win out of it, and you just have to throw that through. And I don't care what deals have been made before, and I understand the Friends of the Park will never allow that. Well, people weren't allowed to sell off this before. You have a terrible situation that you can try to make at least slightly better. The Bears have a ton of money. They want to be in Chicago. Sell them the land, tax them, and let them build their damn ass stadium and try to benefit from it. That's what I would do. It'd be better for the city. It'd be better for the state. But nobody wants to get creative like that. And I'm out here, Jeremy, trying to make sense here, but nobody wants to listen. I still think that makes the most sense.
You should go to Springfield or the city council and testify as a constituent,
Oh, okay. Maybe I should. Honestly, it's annoying. A fiscal responsibility, I don't know how that became a Democratic thing or a Republican thing or anything. Like, we're all living here. Try to do right by the people. Hello, and the people that want the Bears in the suburbs. Should the Cubs move to the suburbs? Should the Sox move to the suburbs? Should the Bulls go to the suburbs? Should the Hawks be out in Gurney? No, they shouldn't. They're the Chicago. Come on, it's ridiculous. Anyway, all right, Jeremy. Thank you for listening to that.
Yep.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, just an observational thing. It's interesting that culturally, it's different because the Bears have been synonymous with Chicago for a century, right?
Forever.
But I mean, you look at, but for a team in a major city to not play in the major city hasn't proven to be that big of a deal. I mean, the New York Giants have been in East Rutherford, New Jersey forever. The Bills have been outside of Buffalo forever. And there's other examples, I'm sure. Obviously, here in Chicago, we're a lot different from that.
The 49ers play wherever the hell they play, not in San Francisco. I get it. And this is how it goes, but that doesn't mean that that's how it should be. But I get it. Hey, we'll stay in touch here, Jeremy. I really appreciate you making time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Thanks for the insight.
Jeremy Gorner from the Chicago Tribune. As the news breaking yesterday that those shovels in the ground this year, that's looking less and less likely. Oh, wow. So here we are. But first, as we celebrate that interview in the best possible way, Gregory, can you go first here?
Absolutely, I can. And give a shout out to our good friends at Four Seasons. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index even reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. I know it's been a cool one so far, but don't worry, summer is still right around the corner technically, so you know you're going to need Four Seasons. Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays. They're always there for you. Schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month and AC furnace combos for $57 a month. And go to your trusted local experts, our Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
And shout out to our friends at Mando. What it makes Mando unique from any other deodorant? Well, one, it makes me actually smell halfway decent, which is a miracle. But it's the whole body deodorant, Gregory. I know you've been enjoying it yourself. Get right in there to all the places that you don't want to talk about.
We've all been enjoying it now that you use it.
Head to toe.
Because you needed it.
I sure did.
Yep.
That's, as they like to say in their ads, they call it the schnitzel area, which is amazing that that's become a thing. But shout out to Mando. The Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, mini body wash, deodorant wipes, free shipping. By the way, special offer for you, the CHGO listener, $5 off that starter pack. That's 40% off. This one is, you're not going to have to break the bank to start out with Mando. Use the code CHGO at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. You're going to love it. 12 hours after a shower, you got this on, you're still smelling amazing. And yes, please support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, head to toe, boost that confidence. Mando. All right, I'm exhausted from that conversation. I got to be honest. It's so frustrating. But okay, we will move forward as a lot of good things going on here, Gregory, to end up the show. Is there anything you want to lead off within our famed as we get to the top of the hour?
Snidbits, super chats.
I mean, we might as well start with the big one. Steven, do we have the video ready here? All right. So I've got 2 brothers and I've got 1 niece. Her name is Grace Carman. I've mentioned her on the show many times. And she is a senior at Lane Tech. Talk about City Strong here. The Chicago Public League, Chicago Public Schools have never had a team advance in the girls' soccer playoffs to the Super Sectionals. And they were playing the number 1 team in the state on Saturday, New Trier, who won it last year. Now, Lane had beaten them earlier this year in the tournament, 0-0 to a triple overtime shootout. They got it done. But this was 1-1 early second half after being down 1-0. And Grace Carman somehow finds the soccer ball.
Okay. Little move. Wow. Upper tank. What a kick. From 20 yards out? That was great. Is that you screaming?
It was a phenomenal atmosphere for high school soccer. 11 o'clock.
Gets control of the ball.
I mean, look at that.
Splits 2 defenders.
Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, seriously, with the end zone, too, that's a good 20, 25 yards out. What a kick.
Yeah, she's she's on her way to Brandeis University as the Lane Tech champions are on their way to the Super Sectionals tomorrow versus York at 4 o'clock, which is not good for me. But so you guys have a great show tomorrow, and I'll see you.
Me checking into Hallis Hall as Mark Carman. I have the harmonica.
Yeah, I've got a plan here for tomorrow, which includes me, because we're remote tomorrow. So
before we hear that plan, I want to give a shout out to our diehards. Make sure you become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard, and when you sign up, you get exclusive written content. You get a free shirt right out the gate. A lot of great offers, discounts on events like we talked about. Our golf event today is the last day you can sign up for it here on Monday. So make sure you do that for our Cookout Classic coming up on Friday, June 6th at the Village Links of Glen Ellen. We've got right now live on our events page, you can buy your tickets to every one of our tailgates here coming up for the football season. We're getting ahead of the game this year, and all our home games we have tailgates for, and you can already get your tickets for those right now. They're the best in the city, hands down. So go to become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard to sign up.
All right, I feel we're being lorded over by Emma and Queen Beer right now. I feel
like
we're in trouble. Are we in trouble?
What do you want?
Wrong?
The buckets are ready.
The buckets
These two have some kind of plan for us that involves throwing water at us.
Is that for real?
That is for real.
That's why we have multiple clothings for today. Okay, well,
you've got me roped in to something because of our love for rate. And now I'm going to get doused with water here as soon as the show's over.
Well, that's the best thing I've heard today so far. So that's awesome. And I will take my own form of.
Good thing it ain't 50 degrees out. At least it's, mid 80s.
It's not mid 80s.
It is mid 80s. At least at my house it is.
I don't know what's going on over there in the region, but over here in
we
Chicago,
don't have lake effect wind, so it's as much.
You pull up the weather app there, Chauncey, and figure out what the temperature is. I guarantee you it's not in the 80s. That's okay. We're tough.
It's 78, but a real feel of 88.
Okay, never mind. It's 80 degrees. I'm dead wrong, and I will point the thumb at myself there. Dead wrong. By the way,
I'll tell you what the region is here in a second. Go ahead.
Gregory, what are you doing tonight at 9 o'clock? Because Crystal's going to be there, but nobody else is going to be there, apparently.
I've told you 100 times. I am not physically ready to play softball with you yet. Nor am I going to go and support your cause or film anything you do. Nice shot of Grace Carman making that. I'm not going to your game to see you hit a lazy pop fly to short left field.
Whatever, that's fine. I don't actually do that. I manage the team.
You don't even play, you bum.
Well, see,
I thought you at least played too. Oh, that's right. You're hurt too.
That's right. But since you brought that up so brilliantly and so sweetly, this morning was a big day for me. And I'm putting everybody on notice right now. I have been out for the last 4 or 5 months with a torn Achilles, and I've literally partially torn and just arthritis and whatever's going on in my right ankle. And I've talked to literally everyone. I've had Amanda over in sales, whose dad is a doctor. He's looked at my images. I've talked to 7,000 people at Illinois Bone and Joint. I've called up professional athletes what to do here. And today, after meeting with my guy, Dr. Vore, he's like, dude, you have less than 1% chance of tearing that thing. It's all about pain management. If you can handle it, get out there. And so I am announcing, like MJ did in 1995, I am back, and I'm back out there. And apparently, because nobody else wants to play softball tonight, I'm going to make my return before I even get on the tennis court. On the softball diamond tonight. So come on to Mozart Park, 9 o'clock. I'm back in the lineup. Bring it on. Let's go.
Who was the New York Knick now that the Knicks have been eliminated from the NBA playoffs? Who was the guy that ran out for warm-ups but didn't play?
Willis Reed.
That's what you're doing. You're doing the Willis Reed. I'm back. You're going to run out the tunnel with your hand up, and then you're not even going to play.
No, I'm not. I won't be limping, buddy. I'm getting in the hot tub beforehand. I'm gonna loosen up the ankle, and I'm gonna have the ice ready afterwards. I am officially. I'm back. Got the green light today. I might not run 1,000%, but we're all right. So there'll be a drop of Willis. Also, last snidbit of the day. Shout out to the White Sox, and I'm going to nominate you, Greg, but I'm actually going to nominate myself.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the Chicago White Sox, as they write it, backed by popular demand, the White Sox are calling for fans to show off their perfect pitch and sing their way into the spotlight as part of the 2025 White Sox National Anthem Contest.
Uh-oh.
All right? Beginning today, as in today, fans can submit an audition video online at whitesox.com/anthem for a chance to be invited to live in-person auditions held Thursday, July 24th at Rate Field. Shout out to our friends at Rate. What's up, Scott Steven? Following these final round auditions at Rate on July 24th, a grand prize winner, standout performer, is going to sing the anthem Monday, August 11th versus Detroit, which happens to be my birthday. We'll be turning a robust age. And I think fate is all coming together here.
I think you should submit a video with you doing a rendition of the national anthem with your harmonica.
And then we'll play it on the show.
What was that noise?
That wasn't me.
Was that a toot?
Somebody on the roof?
I think someone's on the roof.
Okay, so
I think it's Emma and flame broiled up there.
Well, I somebody's on the roof, which with our roof, they could come cascading onto the show at any moment, or because Lord knows dust is. I had to do a Carm cleanup the other couple Mondays ago as things had fallen down. But look, I think this is it, man. Try out for the anthem. I don't really I got to be honest. The anthem freaks me out. You can't get any words wrong. You can't just, Well,
you certainly should try out. I mean, you're not going to win because you're not a great singer, but you should try out and then like somehow we make sure we get a copy of this. I mean, we've all seen your Secret Bajan Man video.
I'm putting it through in my head right now. The harmonica with
I think
song.
The harmonica.
You got to respect the anthem, so that you can't be too aloof with the toots. It's got to be good.
Can't be too goof with the toots.
Can't be too goofy. We got to respect that. I got to win, but maybe we can do something. At any rate, shout out to the White Sox. I'm coming for that too. Mine as well.
All right.
Although I don't want to make any declarations here because that seems a little bit even tall for this amazing talent that I am. Okay, and then now we've got drilling upstairs, which probably
it's actually below
directly
us.
under my feet. I could feel it.
Oh, they're below us. They're putting in the ceiling fans. Hey,
like in Bugs Bunny or no, the Wile E. Coyote.
Chad, let us know if you can hear that because we'll file a
saw
complaint.
Starts going around Steven, and he falls through.
Patrick Norton. I did the anthem throughout high school. Terrifying every time. Norton did the...
Yes, because Norton told me weeks ago that at the Village Links of Glen Ellen is where that's where Caddyshack was filmed. And so I've been telling everyone this, and I called him the other day, and then he tells me that he's never said this, but that's not what I've been telling everyone. And when I called him, he revealed to me that he sang in the choir, and he showed me a picture. I don't really know how that part of the conversation got brought up, but yeah, he's in the choir. So not only was he in the choir, but he's singing the national anthem. We should make him do this.
This is Norton. You're up. You are up.
Week one of the NFL season.
Patrick, you're
pregame show. Well, he's not going to.
No, we got it. We have to have Emma film it, and this is going to be our contestant. We are nominating you, Patrick Norton, to sing the anthem and represent CHGO August 11th on my birthday. I'll sing back up with the harmonica. Let's go. This is unbelievable what's going on downstairs, which I do think it's the same person that was painting at my place on Friday.
Hey, shut up!
Which was amazing. Did you see that clip? I'm sure you didn't because you were at Cubs, but the painters were over, and they just started painting right behind me.
Silent drilling. Dang.
Marco E., let's get some super chats here on the way out as we'll battle around the drilling. Marco E., $9.99, $10. Appreciate you. New diehard alert. Hi, guys. Just became a diehard. Can you give a shout out to Eva, our 7-year-old daughter who has to play the podcast every night? Eva, listen, you are on your way to being elite. You are an elite 7-year-old. Jenny and I'm sorry. Addie turned how old?
7.
We got a 7-year-old on the show, and Addie and Eva.
That's
Sounds
right.
like a doubles team.
Yep, for sure.
Is Addie a diehard?
I believe so.
Okay, Eva, happy birthday, whenever it is, and thank you for being such a diehard listener. Outstanding job, Marco. Appreciate you guys. Next up,
Sang Ray Kim, $5 super chat. I would say the biggest cut candidate is Caleb Bust. Judging by OTAs, he still suck. And Johnson's going to get his own Jared Goff next year from free agency. Whatever, Sang Ray Kim.
You settle down, Sang Ray Kim. Chubbs82, who might actually be making the noises downstairs. Trade Edmonds and a late round pick for Hendrickson. God, Edmonds is going to let us down. That they really would want Tremaine Edmonds. Chubbs, be better. $5. If the Bears can't build a stadium without taking money from the struggling public, they don't deserve a stadium. Sell the team bums. Chubbs. So, can you tell Chubbs to settle down on this Monday? He wants to make a terrible trade that they would never. A great trade that they would never do.
You cannot stop Chubbs. You can only hope to contain him.
Yeah.
Then we have one final.
This was from Friday after the show ended. Bears on Kauai has been an absolutely phenomenal supporter for us. We love you, Bears on Kauai. He put in super just cuz. Love all you guys do. Can't catch live as much as with the new work schedule, daughter homeschooling. Haven't missed an episode since finding you all.
A lot of excuses there, Bears.
Those are not excuses. Those are real life, and that is awesome. And Bears on Kauai is the man.
Daughter's a homeschool. What time is it in Hawaii right now?
6 hours earlier. Right now it is. That would be 7:10 in the morning.
So you can delay school for an hour. What time is it in Hawaii?
I just told you it's 7:11 in the morning.
No, it says 8:10 a.m. right now. Okay, so you were wrong. It's got to
be.
So you were wrong.
Okay, it's spring. It's fall.
But it starts at 7 a.m.
Whatever.
Our show starts at 7 a.m. in Hawaii. Okay,
gotta get ready for school, man.
Yeah. Okay.
He's here every day. He doesn't need to watch live. That's totally fine. It's Bears on Kauai.
But yes, daylight savings. Once it changes, then it'll be what you said. Randy Hayes, new diehard here. Love the Bears since 1960.
That's what I love about Randy. He goes through it. He doesn't jump ship. Stays the course. He's with you every day. You know that when Randy gets up, he's going right to that coffee maker. He's pouring the coffee, and he's going to start his day, and he's going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Randy has good days. Randy has bad days, which you would never know because Randy he's the best Randy that he could possibly be. And that's why I love Randy, and that's why he's a part of the diehard family.
Yep.
Damn it.
1960s. So is that baby boomer?
Yes, that would be a baby boomer.
I don't know.
Very good. Very good.
Just making sure.
You know what happened in 1963?
The start of Ray Chevrolet.
And Randy saw the Bears win the NFL title. Randy was there when Ed O'Bradovich flung his helmet into the crowd to celebrate that George House fined him $500, which was a lot of money back then. Of course, George Hallis is now beautiful painting of him and a beautiful picture in Kevin Warren's office. Mm-hmm. All right. On that weird ending, let's end the show. Gregory, fun to be with you. Minicamp the next 3 days. Plan is for 4 o'clock tomorrow. If it changes, we'll tweet it out, whatnot. But I think we're sticking to that. So somebody talk to...
You'll do what your daddy tells you to do.
I'll talk to Hogue Daddy about that one. Exactly right.
We got the Hogue as my daddy audio, I think, in there.
Did you know that Hogue wasn't here today when he sent the tweet out yesterday?
Yeah, he said it last week. What, you didn't? Shocker.
I surely did not hear that one. It's like, it's a shout out to Ray Scarpelli, the great guys at Ray. They're doing something up there today that's very important. All right, Barb, we'll see you tomorrow at 4. Bears Minicamp. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.